So they reckoned they'd caught Jesus good and proper this time. He'd said it himself, after all, hadn't he? Had he? They dragged him off and made him stand up in front of Pilate. You remember, the guy from chapter 13, right? And started saying all kinds of things about him. He reckons he's the Messiah, our king. And he even told people they didn't have to pay their taxes. Pilate looked at the crowds and looked at Jesus. The crowds looked angry. "Are you the king of the Jews?" "That's what you say," said Jesus. "I don't think this man has done anything wrong," Pilate told the crowds. "But he has! He has!" they shouted back. "He's been teaching things. He's been causing trouble everywhere he goes. He started in Galilee and now he's here disturbing everything." "Are you saying this man's from Galilee?" asked Pilate. "Right, well, it's not my job to judge him then, is it? If he's from Galilee, that's where Herod is in charge." Herod, who just so happened to be visiting Jerusalem, got quite excited when he heard that Jesus was being brought to him. He wanted to see if Jesus would do a miracle for him, just so that he could watch. When Jesus arrived, Herod asked him question after question, but Jesus didn't say anything. Because he wasn't speaking, the chief priests and the temple people started shouting again, saying that Jesus had said and done all kinds of really awful things. They were getting angrier and angrier.
So, after a while, Herod and his guards started saying mean things to Jesus and pushing him around. They made him wear a fancy cloak and then sent him back to Pilate. Herod and Pilate had always hated each other, but now they had something in common: Jesus. Pilate pulled everyone together, the chief priests, temple guys, and some of the crowds. "You told me this Jesus was causing trouble everywhere. Well, I questioned him, and so has Herod, and I don't think he deserves to die. He's done nothing wrong. I'll have him whipped, and that'll be the end of it." But the crowd shouted, "Kill him! Kill him! Let someone else go free instead. That Barabbas guy, that murderer. If you want to let someone get away with what they've done, he'll do." Barabbas was a murderer, and he'd been in jail serving his time. It was a tradition that the governor would set one prisoner free around the Passover every year if he wanted.
Barabbas was a murderer, and he'd been in jail, serving his time. It was a tradition that the governor would set one prisoner free around the Passover every year, if he wanted. Pilate couldn't quite believe what he was hearing, so he told the crowd again that Jesus had done nothing wrong. "Kill him! Kill him! Put him on a cross! Crucify him!" "But why? He hasn't done anything, I've told you. I'll get him whipped, beaten. Surely that's enough," said Pilate. He was getting pretty desperate. But the shouting didn't stop. In fact, it got worse, and the crowds were truly scary now, and eventually Pilate gave in. He let Barabbas out of jail, and he gave Jesus to the crowd. "Do what you want with him," he said, and he walked away. crucify. Crucifixion. Essentially, this is where a person is crucified and they're fastened to two pieces of wood in the shape of a cross. That stood up on its end in a hole in the ground, and then they're left there until they die. Usually the Romans put big, strong nails through their hands and feet so that the people could never escape. And they almost always took their clothes off the person on the cross too. See, the whole point of crucifixion was that it was a long, slow and painful death. And to make it even worse, the Romans crucified people. They usually did it where everyone could see. Sometimes they even made people carry their own crosses all the way to the place where that was going to happen.